Today is using a version of the DexPatcher toolchain that's fully integrated with Android Studio and the Gradle build system. And the latest stable release of this only has partial support for Android 10. And this exploration is really intended to serve as a proof of concept, as the goal here is to produce the most basic modification on a typical large user-based application. One with a production team that's, I would say, about studio scale, so moderate number of programmers, artists, and etc. I'll also be providing the explanations as if I was thinking about this in real time. Also, this is an alternate method for making sure that you are able to patch some Android application. The typical process might go something like using APK tool to first decompile the APK to the bytecode and then extracting the classes.dex from the APK using dex2jar and then a Java decompiler to get incomplete and often broken code, but mostly understandable. And then you identify what to modify. You actually modify it by editing the smally, and then you can also alternatively write the modification in Java, compile it, decompile it, and then copy over the resulting smally code over. But what I'll do right now is demonstrate a way that you can write Java patches and compile that into an app without necessarily having to edit the smally code directly. And so first, what I'll do is I'll create a new project, empty activity. Next, my application, I'll just call this patch, and we'll deal with changing the package names later. And we will be using API number 29, Android 10, and we'll deal with trying to get the code to compile on Android 10 as we progress. Right, so it's still building. Finally, the project is indexed, and what we'll do first, we'll go ahead and just place the APK that we want to patch. Here is the choices APK that we want to patch, and what we'll do first is create a new folder. We'll just title it APK, and then we'll go ahead and drag that right over here. So we'll refactor that, and then we have the APK inside of an APK directory. And the next thing that we want to do is basically get rid of anything that we don't actually need. And I'll just go ahead and delete that. And we'll also delete all the test suites and Android test as well. The first thing that we'll want to do is essentially replace this with an older version of Gradle. We'll add another build script in which we import the tool. And next we'll add this. Essentially we're importing all the tools that we're going to use over here. And then we're finished with the first part, and we'll move on to the app level Gradle file. We'll apply the plugin. We'll then add a configuration block, and we will be enabling the options disable resource validation and use the AAPT bundled with the APK tool, because what I've found in general is that even with an app that I have, a simple app that I've created, and the only external library I've used is Universal Image Loader, my hypothesis is that there is a Google library that is causing the generation of invalid resources. And so, just like the comment says, by using this option, we will be attempting to process them normally. And since it defaults to false, we'll be explicitly setting this as true. And also, we will be using the AAPT version 2 bundled with the APK tool. And we'll just be setting the SDK compile version to 29. And I'll explain later why we do that and how you could figure that out. We'll next be changing the application ID to the same application ID as the app that we intend to patch. And the way that you can find that out is if you go to the APK file, and then you look at the manifest, it puts the package name as com.pixelberrystudios.choices, and there's a bunch of other stuff that you can gather from this as well, and that is what they put the compile SDK version as well as a few other things. Well, also the next thing that you notice from the APK is that from the manifest that we analyzed from the APK is that it does have 2 Dex packages bundles, and we will be having to send the min SDK to 21. We'll go ahead and change the target SDK to 29. And like I said, it does have 2 Dex files, so I'll enable multi-Dex. And I will be also increasing the size of the memory to assist with the processing of the multi-Dex. I'll just add that, and we don't need any of these dependencies, so I'll also go ahead and remove these. And next we will be going on to the manifest file, and the first thing that you can do is actually you can change this bit package to anything that you want. So I'll go ahead and do hack.choice, and I'll also go ahead and specify the launcher activity inside the manifest, and to figure that out we'll have to go to the manifest file, and then we'll do a search for launcher, and as you can see the launcher activity is called choices activity, and then so we will specify that also in our app level Android manifest. I'll get rid of this, and there you go. This is what we would use to specify what we want the launcher class to do, because what we will be doing is we will just be patching the main activity of the app to do the simplest task, and that simplest task will be printing a toast message on startup. And so we'll also have to be renaming this package, so we'll rename this to choices activity. And so we do rename this to choices activity, and the next thing we'll do is we'll go to the APK file. We have to generate the classes that we want. Right, and now that we do load everything, we find that there's an unexpected element queries found in the manifest. And indeed, if we do go to the APK and then look at the manifest, there is a queries element. And the reason for that is because queries is only recognized in Android 10 or API level 30. And so what we'll have to do is we'll have to use APK tool to decompile this package and then edit the manifest and then paste it back in the project as a kind of workaround. And so first, well, we have choices APK right here. Now we'll run APK tool on choices 1. And we'll go ahead and go inside the folder, and we'll edit the manifest. And so right here you'll find the queries, and what we'll do next is we will just delete this. And now since we have edited, now we will rebuild this. Now that the APK is built, we will copy this back into Android Studio. Going to this, we'll rename just this to clarify. So we have choices done.apk. We'll drag this to the APK folder, and now we'll resync this. Since we are only interested in the values, we will just go ahead and delete all of these, because this is an error that is associated with merging the resources. We are only interested in patching strings, which is where we specify the name of the app. So we can just do this as choices patched. And now that we do have all these classes, we can actually go ahead and look inside. The toolchain technically uses dex2jar to look at the decompiled source code. And what we'll do is, since we are targeting this class, we do want to go ahead and copy the top. We'll make the annotation dex edit, and we are only interested in modifying the content, which is the members inside. We're not trying to redeclare or redefine any of the methods that are abstract that we may want to override. We aren't doing that, so we'll set this to true. And we are importing the annotations class. We are appending to the onCreate method. And so to specify that within the patch framework, we'll do DexAppend, and now we will add the code that we want to patch onto the app, which is to print a toast message. And as you can see, my message is BAM, and I want the length to be long so that we can see it. Now we'll rebuild it. I did go ahead and remove the implement, as it did seem like it was causing a few errors, and I double checked the source code and there isn't going to be any repercussions in doing so. And now the app is installing onto the phone. Now the build is successful and we are waiting for the app to install on the virtual device. Another note is that even though the APK I acquired was in fact version of the app that was compiled for the ARM architecture, the new Android 10 emulators are able to do is convert the instructions into x86, in which case we won't actually need full ARM emulation in order to run the app, because ARM emulation on a computer that's based on x86 will run substantially slower. And now we do have this app that has launched. Let me just exit real quick. Seems to be a little lag. And if we navigate to the app info, we see that we have also patched the name